Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Nick, and this is MSFS Flight Plans, a place where I can only hope you enjoy spending as much time as I do, and I spend a lot of time here, and I enjoy it a lot, so good luck with that. If you saw the post on our community page a couple days ago, we have hit the milestone. We are at 1,000 members now, so as I've been telling you for months, we are going to officially open our Discord server. There will be a link for that down in the video description, along with a link to this flight plan, which I'll tell you about in just a second. But we're going to do something a little different, just like we did when we celebrated our 500th subscriber. We're going to take a fun cruise. This is going to be a safari cruise in a monsoon. I was going to take a Kenya trip back before I thought we would hit 1,000 before I got it uploaded. And as I was flying around there, my usual operating procedure is that is once I have everything all staked out, I would go in there and look for any add-ons that might be available for the flight, either landmarks or airports or scenery or anything. And when I typed Kenya into Sim Market, it pulled up a free Safari add-on pack, which I thought, well, that's interesting, because I was going to get that Okavango pack, which was like 25 bucks, and this one was free, so I figured I'd check it out. And it looks pretty good. I don't know how good the Okavango one looks. If you have that and it looks a lot better than this one, let me know. Maybe we'll still check that out, but this one's pretty cool. It's not awesome, but it's also free. And this helicopter is the Lama, which is made by the same developer and the same manufacturer as the Alouette, which is the one that we flew out over Melbourne. In fact, it's built on the same kind of chassis, but obviously it has a very different look to it. And I think this one's probably the most challenging of all of the helicopters that I own to fly. And since we're having fun on this flight, I figured I would make it as hard as I possibly could by throwing the monsoon in here. And we're going to have like 30 knot winds once we get going, so this is going to be pretty cool. And it looks like Chad has everything all set up for us with our pre-flight checks and inspections, so let's go ahead and hop in and start her up, and then I'll pull over a little NavMap real quick just to kind of show you where we are and where we're going. And this one looks very similar inside and works very similar to that Alouette. And I'll tell you about that flight computer. I did look into that. If you saw that Australia flight, I'll tell you what I learned about that thing here in just a second, but let's get her started up. We'll turn the blower on too, because it's probably incredibly humid in here. Alright, so we got those going, get the booster on, and then we'll hit the starter. And we have to give it just a second, because I have to give it some fuel, and then I'll pull over a little NavMap. So this computer here, I did take the time to read through the manual and see how to operate that thing. And what it does is it doesn't change the engine function or anything, but it gives you some parameters for the best way of flight, the best hovering RPMs and things like that, but I couldn't really tell from the manual exactly how to adjust it. You have to adjust like this little knob here for the air temperature and the other one for some weight or something like that, but if someone knows how to use that, that would be a great subject for our Discord server, so let me know if you know how that operates in there. Maybe you can give us a little tutorial, which would be really cool. Alright, fuel on. Let's make sure that's all the way up. Okay, while that's running up, let's go ahead and take a look at little NavMap real quick here. Alright, so here's Africa. And when you get the add-on, it will show you all of the points of interest in here as well. And I think it includes 3 airports. I don't know if they exist before the add-on or not, but these are the ones that if they didn't add the airports themselves, they at least touch them up. So this one here, and then this one over here, and this one here. Maybe even this one, because I think there's some animals down by this one as well. But when you install it in the sim and you get to the world map, whoa, that was really, really close. It'll show you all the spots where the animals are, and then all of the little outposts and camps and all that stuff. So we got some flamingos, we got some elephants. I didn't put them all in here. I just wanted to make sure I got to see most of them. And then when it says hotspot, which it'll also say in the sim, that's where there's multiple types of animals in those areas. So I'll include this if you want to load it up, just so you'll make sure you can route it around where most of the animals are. That's how I have this thing drawn out. And the reason why we're cruising by this airport is because there are some flamingos down here, and it's the only spot that I saw them when I did my test flight, which wasn't in a monsoon, by the way, so I have not yet done this in a monsoon. We'll see how that goes. But we'll do a nice low pass over here because I couldn't find flamingos anywhere else. And they were just tiny little pink dots, but we'll see if we can get a little bit closer and take a look at those guys. So if you just wanted to totally VFR fly this, you could just take off in the direction that we're heading, and we are starting in parking spot number, in case you're curious, I think it's 4. In the sim, there's about 8 parking spots over here. One of them will get you pointed that way, which means you'll have to come out here and turn all the way around. The ones on the left side, the parking spots, will get you facing this way. So a good VFR marker, if you're just getting up in the air from the airport, is once you just cruise in the runway heading this direction, you'll see this airport over here. If you want to fly around just a little bit to the north of that and then come all the way down the river, just following it all the way along, that's where all the animals are. Where the flight plan might come in handy is so you'll know where to take that turn to get over here to this airport, because you can't see it down from the level we'll be at from the river. As you're going to see once we take off, we're kind of up on a little crest here, and then we're going to have to come down this little plane to see the river. But it's going to be really, really cool, and I can't wait to see how we do in this helicopter. This thing is a struggle for sure. Alright, let me make sure. Alright, I'm going to keep little NavMap just to the left to make sure I at least get pointed in the right direction, but once we get to the river will be in good shape. Okay, I think everything's ready, guys. If you're ready, let's give it a shot. Just like the Alouette, right when we come up with this thing, it's going to start to spin itself to the left a little bit, so I'm not going to be able to use my mouse at all. I'm going to have to keep both hands on the controls, even in good weather. This thing's hard enough to fly that I need to use everything, including my feet for this one. Usually I don't even have to use the anti-torque pedals too much, but we will now. Okay, so we're going to be going that way. We're almost pointing in the right direction now. Let's just get up in the air so I can get my bearings from a little bit higher perch. You can try landing on those helipads if you want to. Good luck. They are tiny. I've tried probably a dozen times just going up and down on them, and you have to land right smack in the center of them or you'll just tip off the edge. So I don't know if those are modeled correctly or not, but if you want to just take some practice helicopter flights, this is a great little route to do that because it's short. The whole distance is about 25 miles, even if we take that little detour for the airport. But this is a great route because you can do the twists and turns around the river. You got some stuff to try to spot with all the animals. Now here's the first thing I want you to check out. Look how good this little rocky outcropping looks. Like Lion King style. If you hear any clicking in the background, that's me vigorously manipulating my trims. Look at that. Whoa, a little gust there. Awesome. Alright, so we're going to come down here because you can see that this is... Ooh, and we even got some elephants right on the other side. I didn't notice those guys before, and I didn't even mark them on my map. See them down there? The animals don't move around, which is probably a good thing because we're getting amazing performance in this, in a helicopter too. I've got everything turned up pretty high. Alright, so now we need to just look for our airport, which should be right over here, and then we'll catch up with the river. And we're going to be flying pretty low, so yeah, the ground's not going to look great, but I got to tell you guys, as I've said before, I think Africa, despite not being touched by any world updates, most of the ground scenery looks really good out here, especially once you get over about 1,000 feet. Well, where's that runway? I don't even see it. The rain's rolling in. It should be dead ahead of us. We'll just... Oh, there it is. Okay. It's kind of hiding in the mist over there. See it up ahead? And we'll do a low pass up here, too, because I think they did add a few little things to these airports we're going to be flying by. So, if you're a little bit gun-shy about the helicopters, I want to try to change that. If you haven't seen it already, we do have a helicopter flight tutorial that I uploaded a couple weeks ago. Just to give you the basics, just to give you a reason to give it one more shot, because I would love to hear some of you guys say, yep, I tried it again, did the tutorial, and that was enough to get me to try flying some of the helicopters. Because they are so much fun. Alright, I'm going to give it a lot more collective so we can get some more thrust, pick up our speed a little bit here. How's our wind looking? Alright, we got a 27 knot wind coming from off of the back behind us from our right. Which means once we get turned around to go south on this river, we're going to be flying right into it. Alright, let's see if we got anything down here. Give it some more collective. Okay, it looks like there's a real-life airplane down there, which got modeled flat. And some stuff's going to be popping down here. Some of the animals will pop a little bit. The river, I think, actually looks pretty good for a river. We're running across flat ground out here. There's some rocks and stuff down there. If you get too low, the rocks are a little bit elevated. You can see a shadow underneath them. But from where we are, which is... What does our radar altitude say? About 600 feet. It's going to be good. Alright, so we should start seeing some camps and some animals down here once we get up over the river. How cool is this weather? There is a monsoon setting in AccuSeason, so I just clicked that on, didn't even have to adjust anything. Alright, let's get down even a little bit lower because we got some haze here. And I did put the bubble door on the right side. You can't put it on the left side, but if you use the regular door, there's all kinds of beams and supports and stuff on there that kind of block the field of view. Alright, so there's a little camp down there. See it with little huts over there to our right? Let's see if we can spot any animals yet. Yep, there's some elephants right down there. See them in the river? And is that something over there too? That white thing there on the shoreline. I can't tell what that is. Maybe it's just some rocks. Alright, got another little camp over here. If you look down through the trees, you can see there's some the word that starts with the PH that makes a f sound. Pictures. But for the most part, you really can't see it. And again, freeware add-on. I'm not complaining. Ooh, there's some more elephants. See them just to the right of our console? Let me get over here. Hey, guys. And another little camp. Yeah, when I was flying without the monsoon, there were no ripples at all in that water, so it's really whipping it up pretty good. So let's see, we're at almost 80 knots for indicated airspeed, and little NavMap says we're going forward at about 70 knots. Alright, so let's come over here to this airport so we can try to spot our flamingos. And it stopped raining good. Maybe the haze will lift a little bit. There's another big camp there. Alright, we can follow this little road over to the airport. There it is right there. Okay, so let's come down some. So the original Kenya flight that I was going to do, I was flying that turboprop Mitsubishi that we flew out in Hawaii because I needed some speed because it was about 170 miles, but it was over some just gorgeous terrain. We left from Nairobi, but it wound up being about 40 minutes, and once you get outside of the city, other than the landscape, which is amazing, there wasn't that much to talk about, so I'm really debating about whether or not we should load that one up. I could find things to talk about, but there's just not much to... There's some volcanoes and stuff, some great-looking lakes, and just really gorgeous, but no cities or big other historical landmarks. Okay, so, alright, there's some elephants popping in, and, okay, the flamingos are those tiny little pink things down there, and even being a little bit closer... I bet if we got right up on them, they'd probably look good, because the elephants, at the end, I'm going to try to land right next to some elephants. Hopefully there'll be no game wardens around there, so you can see how good they look. But let me know if you want to see that Kenya flight. It's just beautiful, and you'll want to take it, so even if we don't do a video of it, I'll probably still upload the flight plan to our Discord server, of course, because you guys will want to check that out. It's a great little tour. And if you don't want to fly this in a helicopter, you can do it in any of your bush planes, of course. Great little bush flight, but I found they were moving a little bit too briskly, and because there's sidewalls and stuff on the planes, it was a little bit hard to see them. Okay, so now we're facing into the wind. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Alright, so I'm just going to keep giving it collective to give it thrust. We're going to have to get something going here. Oh man. Alright, I'm just going to keep giving that collective so we can get going forward again. Oh boy. Once we get back to the river, we'll be okay. So in the manual for this thing, there was a little section in the beginning that was talking about the history of this. And they said that this helicopter, if it didn't have the record for the highest helicopter flight, it's way up there. You know, most of them have a service ceiling of, I don't know, 12,000, 14,000 feet. This thing cut up to 42,500 feet, which is unbelievable. I can't believe there's enough air density up there for one of these things to fly. So we'll have to take these up in the top of the Alps, maybe out to Everest or something, see what it does up there. Way up there. Alright, I'm just trying to get back to the river. And I'll also include the... Is that a river or is it just a really green path? It's really green, whatever it is. I'll include the links for this helicopter as well, because I don't think you can get this in the Sim Marketplace or even at Sim Market. I think I had to get this one and the Alouette directly from the developer's site. But if you like helicopters and you've never heard of this thing or the other one, they're awesome. Not cheap. I think they're about 25, 30 bucks each. But I enjoy both of them a lot. And they're kind of like the next step helicopter. The default ones in the Sim are probably the easiest. The Cowan Sims aren't too bad, and I love flying those. They've got some that you can get for free at flightsim.to as well that are just okay. They're fun to fly, but they're not nearly as detailed or having the system depth of these guys. But I'll put the link to this thing too. Okay, so we got another camp down there to our left. And maybe some animals right there on that little bend in the river. Nope, doesn't look like it. So we're at just over 500 feet above it. And that's really not looking too bad. I mean, if you were at 1,000 feet, that would look really good, I think. So if you're curious, as I was, really from day one until now, as I've said before many times, I was suspecting that nobody's getting rich from YouTube channels if they're in the flight sim niche. And I now know that that's probably accurate. And I never did this for the money. I've got a day job, fortunately, that pays all the bills. I do this just for the fun of it and to hang out with you guys. So after 2 days of hitting 1,000 members, once you get 1,000 subs, YouTube will start sending you a check, which is nice. But they said so far I've accumulated 37 cents. But whatever we wind up accumulating, whether it's 37 cents or 37 bucks a month, we'll just keep dumping it back into add-ons and explore those together. And on that note, if there's an add-on that you've been dying to check out, I've always got a hole in my wallet that's just looking for money to spend on add-ons, let me know. Preferably not airports. I'm not a big fan of airports add-ons, unless they're freeware. Alright, those are rocks down there. Not any more animals over there. Boy, that wind is just yanking us around. I've got some constant pressure on my right anti-torque pedal just to stay turned into this wind. Alright. There's got to be some more up here somewhere. And as long as you're somewhere in the vicinity of the river, as you're flying around this, you'll see animals all over the place. There's some more elephants down there. I want to see some giraffes. Oh, there's some right there. Look, right there. Are those giraffes? Right underneath us right now? I think they are. I think I see a big neck. Yeah. Those guys better get near some tall trees. I wouldn't want to be sticking that thing up out here in the open landscape with all this lightning. Alright, how's our wind? We're up at 30 knots now, and it's about perpendicular with us now. And this isn't really too bad. I figured it'd be even worse than this. Oh, there's another animal right underneath us. Oh, we're not going to be able to see him. It looks like an elephant. One lone elephant all by himself. Yeah, I'm a pretty big fan of that river. That looks pretty good, all things considered. You know, most rivers don't look very good at all in the sim. And there's another elephant, a couple of them, a little family there. And another one all by himself on this side of the river. And another little camp down there. Well, for something so basic, you would think that they could get it to not pop like that, especially when you're right on the top of it. Oh, and they have 2 helicopter pads down there. Not that we could land on them. But again, it's free. I'm not complaining. And thank you, Inibuilds, if you're the one. I think it was Inibuilds. Whoever made that, thank you for making a nice free add-on for us to enjoy. Alright, we got another camp over here. This wind is awesome. Yeah, if you can fly this helicopter in this wind and then land it, which I've not yet tried to do, you're doing alright with the helicopters. And again, if you feel like the helicopters are just too much trouble to mess with, I made that tutorial just for you. Check that thing out. That'll get you in and get you going. A lot of lightning out here. Alright, so that patch of green, not around where the river is, but that next patch of green sticking up over there, our airport is right on the other side of that. So we're going to circle around the left of it, which would be to the east of it, because there's another nice little rocky outcropping. There's another elephant down there all by himself. And some more over there. See him on that little bend in the river? Where are all the flamingos at? And on top of the outcropping, there's a big adobe building, which I think is something that might be there in real life. I don't know if it's a little hotel or resort or what. But it looks cool, so we'll get a nice low pass at that. And right on top of it, right next to it, back behind the hotel, is a bunch of flat buildings. So I'm going to see if we can fly low enough to not see those, but get a good look at the hotel or whatever that thing is. And then when we're done at the end, I'm going to pull over Discord. We'll take a look at that just so you can become familiar with how that interface looks. If you're an old fuddy-duddy like me and you've never been on Discord until very recently in my case, I'll show you what that looks like and how to use it. Because I'd love to get as many people who want to be a part of that conversation involved in that. We're going to do a lot of cool stuff. I'll give you a little preview of that as soon as we're done. Alright, you know what? Nope, we got one more outcropping here. It's that next one sticking up over there. Maybe we'll get lucky and see some flamingos on the way in here. So if we don't do the Kenya flight, which I've already got mapped out, so that one will be a gimme. That one will be pretty easy, assuming I can find enough things to talk about. I'm still planning on getting out to Portugal, because Lisbon looks pretty good. And they touched up that area with the world updates. They got a nice big fort out there, some bridges, all kinds of ports down along the water. Okay, so what I'm going to do is circle around the side of this. We'll be facing right into the wind again, which will be great, because that'll get us slowed down. Oh, there's some elephants crossing the river. See them right there? But we'll do a nice low pass and take a look at this adobe thing. I'm going to see if I can get low enough to not see the flat stuff. Let's see how we do. Alright, so there's the rocks. Oh, getting that wind. It's going to be tucked into a little cranny back here. Oh, that wind is just really beating us up. Oh! See it? There it is. Look at that thing. Boy, I bet it's not cheap to stay in that place. How cool is that? Oh, we still saw some of the flat stuff. Alright, there's our runway right up there, so let's go ahead and cruise up there. We got to pick up a little bit of elevation. and altitude. And the elephants should be off to the right, so I'll see how close we can get to those guys so you can see how well they're modeled. Man, I'm having to really put a lot of that left trim in because this wind is just blowing us hard. A lot of left trim. I'm afraid when the gust stops, it's going to rock us back over there. You know what? I'll show you. I'll try landing on one of those helipads, which is... Oh, there's a giraffe, too. All right. It's going to be real hard, but if I can do it, at least I'll have some bragging rights. But let's do a low pass to these elephants so you can see how good these guys look. Plus, I want video documentation if I can actually do it in this helicopter in this wind. Look good, don't they? Okay, alright, let's see if we can do this. I gotta get turned around here so I can see the thing. Look at that windsock. Wow. Alright, so let's turn this way. If we don't get blown over when we turn. And the helipads are right there. This will be fun. If I can't get it after a few tries, we'll just put her down this big dirt spot. Okay. Oh, that wind is really blowing us over. Oh my gosh. Ugh. Oh man. Well, now I've lost it. That's right. The wind's going to blow us back some. Whoa, 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 whoa. Look how tiny that thing is. Okay, come on. Come on. Oh man, if I do this, I'm going to buy myself a gift card if I do this. Alright, wind, blow us back a little bit. Whoa. Oh, come on. If I can get this. Come on. Oh my gosh. No, 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 no. Oh, 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 oh. Oh. Well. And yeah, that's what happens. So look what it looks like from the outside. I mean, we're not dead center, but pretty close. Shouldn't be doing that. Alright, let me go over to the dirt, because I'm going to turn this thing off, and I don't want to be laying there like that. I don't want anybody harassing me. Okay. Alright, so hang out for just a second. I'm going to pull over once I get this thing shut down, that Discord server page, so you can check that out. And I'll tell you how to get set up if you haven't done that before. Turn that off. And get that thing shut off. And the battery off. And our blower, of course. Alright. So, if you've never been on Discord before, just Google Discord. It'll take you, the top result should be where you would download Discord. And once you get in there, it'll ask you right on the first page to either sign in or sign up. So if you just click on the link that I'm going to have down there, it might say that you can't get into the page. You'll have to have the Discord app on your computer, so you'll need to get that going first. Then when you click on the link, it should bring you here. And this is what our main server page looks like. So this is called a server. These are all new vocabulary words for me. And all these things down the left here, I have pre-set up in here with the help of Dan Buck. Again, thank you for that. Our man down in Brazil who has a lot more experience with Discord than I do. And these are the equivalent, these are called channels. These are the equivalent of chat rooms, if you're familiar with how they did that back in the AOL days. And each of these kind of has a subject. These up here are just kind of general page commentary. And I'm going to tell you a couple things that are very important, some disclosures, because I want to say them and I want to hopefully have you read them. But each of these will be broken up by the different things that we're talking about in here, or what you're talking about, whatever anyone feels like discussing. So the schedule will be all of our upcoming flights. If you're curious about where I'm planning on going, of course that is subject to change at all times. Past flights will be a spot where you can go if you know a lot more about a place than I did as I was narrating it, where you can add a little bit more color commentary to that, which I always appreciate. This Suggest a Flight page is a place where you don't necessarily want to submit a full-on flight plan, but if you want to just say like, hey, you should check out the Gold Coast in Australia, which someone did recently, just drop that in there. And if you do have a full-blown flight plan that you want to load up, this is where you would do that. And as I mentioned on several of our flights already, I'm going to have a quarterly competition. And initially I said that I thought I would award the person who had the best submitted flight plan that we didn't upload to YouTube, but that doesn't make any sense because we want people to win for having the best flight plan. So the best flight plan uploaded of all, whether we post it on YouTube or whether it just winds up here on our Discord server, the community will vote. We'll go to Discord to vote, and whoever wins that each quarter, I will get you a Flight Sim vendor of your choice gift card. as long as they offer gift cards. So the format we'll use for that, it says it right here, but just in case you're like me and you don't like reading things, instead of putting links in here, links are always very, very dangerous to click on anywhere unless you don't mind your computer getting loaded up with viruses. Hopefully no one would do that on our server here, but you never know. So instead of putting a link to a flight plan, just put the departure ICAO code, the sequential waypoints, coordinates, or VFR landmarks you want me to check out along the way, and then the arrival airport code. And then I'll build the plan from there, and then I'll make sure that that's safe. As long as you trust our YouTube channel, you can click on the link in our video descriptions. So that's how we'll do that, and then the winner, again, will vote inside the Discord server as a community. Whoever wins will get a free add-on or whatever else you want to get. All this other stuff, I don't know how many people will talk in any of these. We'll shave some off if no one's using any of these, but if you want to talk about videos you have or pictures you want to upload, you can do that here on the media page. Talk about fixed-wing aircraft, rotorcraft. The gear shop is something that if you've got something you want to sell, or something that you're looking for and you can't find it on YouTube, or you don't feel like paying eBay prices for stuff, you could load that up here. Just a little disclaimer about that. Also, buyer beware. Everything should be at arm's length. I would strongly encourage you to use an escrow service, but just for starters, I'm thinking about upgrading my pedals. I've still got those original Logitech or Saytech pedals, and I'm thinking about getting some new ones, but I don't know what to get. So any suggestions, if you've got some, and if you've got some old ones you're thinking about selling, let us know down there. And then when we do our live chats and fly-alongs and things like that, we will get on here to hear each other's audio so we can talk to each other without having to do a group phone call, group chat. These are what these are called. So we can do that and then talk to each other in the sim while we're doing that. And we'll probably record those and upload them, not on YouTube, but here in the Discord server. So that's what that looks like. I hope you guys will check that out. If you run into any problems, again, I've only set up my account here. I've not set up multiple accounts. I've never managed one of these before. I'm starting to get the hang of it, but if you're having trouble getting in there, getting on, let me know and I'll try to walk you through all that. But again, look for that link in the video description. Just make sure before you click on the link for that you have set up the Discord app on the computer that you're going to be using it on, or it won't take you anywhere. And that is that, guys. Had an absolute blast as always. Can't wait to see you again in the skies and on our Discord server. Later.